Hello, I'm James White with Blue Roof Property Management. I'm here to provide pro tips to help you run a successful rental business. Finding a tenant involves much more than posting a few photographs and waiting for applications. A successful rental marketing process combines accurate pricing, clear property information, broad advertising, consistent communication, and legally compliant screening. When these elements work together, property owners can reduce avoidable vacancy, protect their investment, and provide every applicant with a fair and consistent experience. But before marketing begins, there is one important question. Is the property actually located within Portland city limits? Oregon landlord-tenant and fair housing laws apply throughout the state. Portland, however, has additional application, screening, and relocation assistance requirements. Those Portland rules generally apply only to dwelling units inside Portland City and most of Multnomah County limits. A rental in Beaverton, Hillsboro, Sherwood, Newberg, or McMinnville is not automatically subject to Portland's fair ordinances simply because it is part of the greater Portland market. Determining the property's jurisdiction is one of the first steps in building a compliant leasing process. Rental Beast reported that properties in the Portland-Vancouver-Hillsboro metropolitan area spent an average of 27 days on the market during the first quarter of 2026. It also reported concessions on approximately 39% of listings. These regional figures provide useful context, but every property must be evaluated based on its immediate competition, condition, location, size, amenities, and recent leasing activity. Overpricing can create a vacancy loss greater than the additional rent an owner hoped to receive. Underpricing can sacrifice income without necessarily producing a better leasing result. The listing should also describe the property, not the type of person the owner hopes will live there. Avoid phrases such as ideal for young professionals, perfect for singles, or best for a small family. Clear photographs and factual, property-focused descriptions create interest while reducing fair housing risk. Rental marketing must connect directly to a written and objective screening process. The goal is not to compare applicants and select the owner's favorite. It is to approve the first applicant in the legally required processing order who satisfies the property's published criteria. For an advertised dwelling inside Portland, the initial availability notice generally must be published at least 72 hours before applications begin to be accepted. The notice must identify the application opening date and time, state whether the unit is accessible when a screening fee will be charged, and describe the factors used to evaluate applicants. Applications received early are generally recorded as received 8 hours after the open application period begins. Complete applications must then be accepted, conditionally accepted, or denied in the required order. Fair housing protections apply from the first advertisement through the final leasing decision. Assistance animals must also be handled as reasonable accommodation requests rather than ordinary pets. Oregon's 2026 laws add protections involving tenant portals and the disclosure of confidential applicant and tenant information. Consistent communication and careful documentation are therefore essential. Good rental marketing creates interest without making promises the property cannot support. It expands visibility without sacrificing consistent standards, and it connects every inquiry to a documented, legally compliant leasing process. Blue Roof Property Management coordinates pricing, property presentation, advertising, applicant communication, screening, and move-in documentation based on the laws governing the property's actual location. If you own a rental property in Portland or the surrounding Oregon communities and want a clear, compliance-focused path from vacancy to occupancy, contact Blue Roof Property Management. Let's build a marketing and leasing strategy that protects your property, your rental income, and your long-term investment. Thank you for watching. For additional details, read the corresponding blog or contact me to schedule a consultation.